Hello, this is Michael from High Five. I wanted to recap what we have built for Norcal. It's been an awfully long road. We'll start with staff onboarding. So here we're talking about people using their phones to sign up as officials or coaches or waymasters or whatever. They just take out their phone and they send a message to us that says register, and we reply with a link. And when they tap on that link, they're asked which association do they want to apply for. So I made up the Pismo Pugs as a silly example, but the applicant here, he just enters his name and phone number. He takes a picture of himself using his phone. There's no application to install. He enters his birth date and chooses a password, and now he's in, and he's got access to, for example, a form which is going to ask him which association are you applying for, what division do you want, what role do you want. And there's also a place where he can certify, yes, I have taken the Waikata certification, for example. So all of these things get saved in the database in real time. And what that means is that as soon as they're done, the staff at head office can certify them. So this is what that looks like. This is a moment later where the picture that I just took has been added in real time to the database, and I can see I applied to be an assistant coach. And here what you see is the Norcal staff, checking off he did follow the procedures, and we did have a background check, and the name of the person who did the certification and the date it happened, their overseeing officer, and then finally you change their status from not certified to certified, and change their ID from being an applicant to being a staff. That's it. You've seen the entire process of getting somebody on board. It's just way faster. Here's a look at the Norcal dashboard. You can see all of the various associations that you work with and how many individuals they have. You can go into league tracking and see things like which divisions are understood by the AYF rules, the mandatory play rules, the maximum number of IDs per division, the venues, which are known by the various teams and associations that you work with. And under player tracking, I'm just going to quickly set up a new game between, let's say, the Poodles and the Pismo Pugs, a couple of goofy teams I made up. You choose a date, you choose which organization is at home and where the game is going to take place. And so, of course, you've got a calendar already set up, so transferring that calendar into this list of games would be handled for you. But now the game exists, and that means that people from the Pugs and the Poodles and the refs that are going to be at that game can now find it. So what I'm going to do now is show you a couple of other people. So there's a group called the Norcal Officials and Support, which has people like a ref, and this is the ref's personal page, which, I mean, on their phone they would see this, and this would allow them to control the game. And for the Pugs, which is this made-up team, here are all the different players, and if you just go look at a player, you would see what his position, his jersey number and age and contact details and so on are. What I'm going to do is look at the coach for the Pugs and see what happens. So the coach has his own ID. Of course, there's a printed version as well, but this is digital and it's got the timestamp on it, so you know you're not looking at a screen grab that some kid made. If you're looking kids up as a coach, you can type the name of a kid, let's say Hill, and there's the kid, so we see that he's 12 years old. We don't see his birth date. We see what his jersey number is supposed to be. Things that you can do for that kid, nothing currently, but if there was a parent phone number, for example, you'd be able to call the kid's parent immediately and say, need help. Anyway, that's looking up a kid. The game check-in is where the coach would say for a particular game, so we're going to do the Poodles versus Pugs. These are the kids who have not yet checked in. So the reason you're seeing My face is because you can use your phone to scan the kids' badges, or you could just look at their numbers, right? You know that you're looking at kid number 11, and you just tap 11, you get reminded that's Murphy, and here's 19, that's Dakota, and 14, and so on. So what's happening is that these kids are being removed from the to check-in list, and they're being added to the checked-in list. And if I realize I've made a mistake and it's not Les Murphy, I can just click, and now 14 will be back available on the to check-in list. People that I haven't checked in are all absent. And if you know that Shannon is not going to show up because she's injured, he's injured, I mean, and we know that Riley is, there's a problem and you want to have the kid reviewed, then you would do these things, and then those are not going to show up here on this list. So anyway, we'll just continue checking the kids in. And let's say those are all the kids who are going to show up, and by definition, anybody who didn't is absent. So that's how you check kids into a game. Let's talk now about the game control. The idea is that the ref says, the ref doesn't carry his phone on the field with him. There's somebody who's keeping time and score and so on. But they start the game. We're in the first quarter, 15 minutes, and we say go. This is where digital MPR counting would be happening. We're going to try to have that complete for the current year. I don't want to confuse things. I can show it again if you're curious, but this is where plays are marked and time is counted and stopped and so on. But when the game is over, and this is what I wanted to point out, this is the game tracker and the coaches. This is the MPR tracker that we built. So if you say mark a play, these kids will be marked as having a mandatory play rule count of 1, and they're still on the field. There's another play, and so on. Anyway, when the game is complete, all right, you've made it all the way up to fourth quarter, and the game is now over. This is the end of game stuff, and that means, for example, a ref would say, yeah, the stuff that I want Norcal to remember are the final score, the players who were ejected, notes that they want to add, and then done. And so the ref can leave his notes, the coach can leave his notes, the EMT can leave his notes, and these decisions were being stored at the conference level instantly. It's already been stored.